I've started recording as well. So I'll wait for 30 more seconds. Again, we are not live streaming today because of the less bandwidth. So I'll be recording the session and it'll be posted later on YouTube. Okay, we got one answer as 7. Do you think we'll just get one answer or do you think we'll get multiple outputs? Jahangir is messaging a lot, but he's not interacting in the sessions. One, 4, and 7. Okay. Okay. I see. So okay, let's run the code because Rian has given the answer and I think the answer is right. Is everybody able to get the answer that Rian got? If you cannot do these simple coding questions, then there is a lot of problem with your coding skills. Then at least you will take more than 2 years. Because I have taught this and I think you should have practiced enough. Let me just turn this off. Wait. So did we got any other answer? Like seriously, are you practicing at the home? Otherwise, this is the waste of time because these are so simple questions. I think you should be easily able to answer them. Salim, Jahangir. So what's the answer of this? Okay, I'll paste this to just see if you are just making an excuse or just check it. I have pasted it on the chat window as well. I'll just give one more minute because I feel like this is just waste of time. Because nobody is able to give you answers, so how am I expecting you to code better? Amir, are you there? So why are you not able to do it? This is such a simple question. With if else and then there is a loop. Why am I telling you this? Because we have discussed among ourselves with TAs and stuff. So they also found out this mistake. They are so weak at coding, they are not able to solve the simple questions. How are you assuming that they'll be solving the projects that will be giving them? This question hardly takes 30 seconds. Rian took 30 seconds probably. The first thing is तुम्हें या तो मेरी चीज समझ नहीं आ रही जो मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ और the second big thing is you are not practicing at all. And you guys are 4 year BTech students. It's not that you have just started with coding कि तुमने ये चीज़ें नहीं सुनी है और ये बहुत खतरनाक क्वेश्चन भी नहीं है. शारिका, are you there? हाँ हाँ हाँ. It's okay, take your time, but I want you guys to solve the questions and come up with answers because otherwise it's a problem for you. So it doesn't matter. हाँ okay okay. It doesn't matter कि मैं कितना अच्छा पढ़ा हूँ अगर तुम प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर पा रहे हो और इन चीज़ों को नहीं समझ रहे हो तो then it's a problem. I don't want you to just go to the next session without having the knowledge of previous sessions. तो इसलिए मैं थोड़ा सा टेस्ट कर रहा हूँ. Jahangir, What's the answer? तभी अच्छा होता फिजिकली होता तुम लोग सबको मार पड़ती. यहाँ पे वर्चुअल मार नहीं सकते. दैट्स अ बिग थिंग. There are people like Rian, Zubair as well who are able to solve such questions, and don't you think that you should also practice so that we don't waste time of any people? Only seven, or do you have multiple outputs? So, what, do you have multiple outputs, or the answer is only seven? Only seven. Okay. Okay, multiple outputs are there. So, what's the answer? 1, 4, 5, and 7. Okay. Jahangir, I am still waiting for your answer. I'll wait for 10 more seconds, then I'll run the code. It's not probable. Here, it's an interpreter. You should give the answer correctly without giving me probabilities. Oh, 7, 6. Okay, then 8. This is so disappointing from your side. Actually, I think Rian was the only guy who gave the answer correctly. Let's run the code and you will see it. So the output here is 147 if you can see it. It's a really like small stuff. I don't think like it is even level 0. So level that I have been teaching you regarding the coding, तो ये questions तो तुम्हारे लिए cake walk होने चाहिए. But still a little bit disappointment, but क्या ही कर सकते, physically तो मार नहीं सकते तुम्हें आके. But I'll assume कि तुम लोग practice करोगे इसके बाद से. Okay, let me tell you how to solve these questions. Okay, I think my screen is visible. I have written this code over here. This is the code snippet. Okay. Just wait. Confirm this once it's visible. Is it visible now? Okay, nice. So here we have, for example, we have a variable I that's equal to 0. तो मैंने क्या बोला है कि तुम्हारी दिमाग में ऐसे मेमोरी बननी चाहिए कि 0 एक ऑब्जेक्ट बन गया और वो I को असाइन हुआ. That's the first step. Then while I is equal to 5, जब तक I, ये कंडीशन है यहाँ पे, I is less than 5, ये कंडीशन दी हुई है. तो this condition says that I should be less than 5. Then this is the block of while. If you see, this comes under while. Okay, and then we have a if in that. If you see, we have a if in that. We have a condition if I is equal to 3. Okay, since it's not 3, so what will happen is this block won't get executed. So these two lines won't be executed. L if, so that it goes here because we are in I is equal to 0. Okay, are you able to hear me? Actually, I think I have written half of the code. Let me again write it because there are two more lines. I just saw it. So continue. Then we have L if I is equal to 0, I plus equal to 1. Then at the end we have else I plus equal to 3, and then we have print I and end. Print. Let's suppose we have just I. So what am I saying is this is the block of while. This whole code is in while. So when I is equal to 0, that means that this code if won't get executed. So this will not be executed. So L if I is equal to 0, yes it is 0. So this block will get executed. Okay. So now we have I plus 1. So that I will become 1 now. Okay. If you see it. So now it will again, it will not go to this else, but it will go to this print because this print is outside if and else. So it will print this 1 on the screen first. It will again go back to the loop. And then it will check if I is less than 5. Yes, condition is still true because now I is 1 and 1 is less than 5. It is checking if I is equal to 3. It is not equal to 3. So these two lines won't get executed. It will go into elif I is equal to 0. But it is not equal to 0 this time. So this will also not get executed. So we'll now come to else. So now it will increment it by 3 because I plus is equal to 3 means increment it by 3 and assign it to I. So it will be 4. I plus is equal to 3 is equal to 4. So now it will print I, that is 4. Again it will go to the loop. Since we have 4 is less than 5, again it will go inside the body of the while loop. Now it will check if I is equal to 3. This is not the case, then this won't get executed. And now it will check this. This will only get executed if I was 0. So it was not 0, it will again go into the else part. So it will see else I plus equal to 3. Okay. So now I plus equal to 3 is 7. So it incremented 7 and print I. So it will print 7. So this is what it will print. So now it will again go to the while loop. So it will check 7 is less than 5. Now the condition became false. When it became false, then it will stop executing the loop. So the output will be 147. Is this clear? No, हाँ तो because that's why indentation comes in. यहाँ पे देखो indentation किया हुआ है if you see it. And on the code if you see it there's an indentation. If you see it on the code as well. Are you seeing the coding screen? So there is an indentation. That's what I am saying. You should be careful with the indentations as well. Okay. So if you see it here, so this is indented. This code is indented. So if it was outside while, then there will be only the only I will be printed and it will be 7. Okay. Again, in the hope that you will do the next question right. Can you go? Can you see the next question on the screen and try to attempt it? Now I'll give just 1 minute. 1 minute for this question because this is so easy. For the people to just run away from the excuses, I'll paste it on the screen. Because I want every one of you to learn. And this is my job that you must learn. It's not that some people will do the question and others won't. क्योंकि मैंने तुम्हें बोला है you will be reading a lot of code. You'll be reading a lot of code written by the people. So you must know how to read code. So Umar is saying 187. So what is the answer, Ian? 1. So now I think most will go with Rian, but I want you, whoever gives the answer next, I'll tell him to explain the logic. Okay. So can you explain the logic, Amir? Is it Amir? Okay. Can you explain me the logic? So how will it go? Okay. Okay. It'll print 1. Okay. उसके बाद क्या होगा? यहाँ पर रेंज फंक्शन यूज हुआ है. रेंज फंक्शन. ओके हाँ मैंने रेंज फंक्शन को एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है. ओके गैप है राइट. नो बिकॉज ये आई परसेंट 2 यानी आई मॉड्यूलस 2 इज इक्वल 0 ये ट्रू नहीं हो रहा है 1 के लिए. सो इट वोंट गो टू कंटिन्यू. तो ये कंटिन्यू नहीं करेगा क्योंकि ये इवन नंबर है ही नहीं. तो ये बेसिकली जो पहली लाइन तुम्हारी है आई मॉड 2 इज इक्वल 0 दिस सेज दैट ये नंबर इवन होना चाहिए बट 1 इज नॉट इवन. तो ये एल्स में जाएगा एल्स इफ में. तो एल्स इफ वहाँ पे 4 के बराबर है. सो इट विल प्रिंट 1. इट विल प्रिंट 1 देन इट विल इंक्रीमेंट इट बाय 3. जब इंक्रीमेंट 3 करेगा तो आई कितना हो जाएगा 4. तो 4 सेकंड वाली कंडीशन में आ जाएगा. पहली चीज, इफ I परसेंट 2 इज इक्वल 0, तो पहली इफ कंडीशन ही सही हो रही है. रियान, जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट योर आंसर. तो पहली कंडीशन यहाँ पे ट्रू हो रही है. नाउ इट विल स्किप द इटरेशन. 1 and 7. हाँ. सो आर यू पीपल एबल टू सी कि आंसर रियान का भी क्यों सही नहीं था? रियान said the answer will be 1. Let me again explain it. I'll write the code on the screen, because today there was a my actually the laptop which usually I use to do the live streams, उसका कुछ हो गया. So because of that I had to use some other laptop, and I haven't updated these things on the notes. I I think that my screen is visible. Tab screen, is it visible? Yes. So look at this. Look at how these code will run. So that's why you should be a live interpreter of Python. So range function, as I told you, that it works like this. This is start, this is end, and this is the step size. Okay. So now the range will start from 1. So as we know that this condition will check for even numbers. Okay. And it will skip the even numbers, because continue skips the iteration. Now this elif will check if the number is 4. When the number is 4, it will break out a loop. So we'll have this range will actually have 1 first. So I is equal to 1 in the initial iteration. Now that I is not equal to odd, so it won't go into continue. It won't go into else as well. So it will print 1 as it is. Okay, now the step size is 3. So it will increment the 1 by 3. So it will become 4. Okay, so it will first go again into this. So if 4 modulus 2 is 0, yes, it is 0. So it will skip the iteration. It will skip whole of the iteration. It won't go into these elif and print statements. So now it will again increment it by 7. Okay. So when I became 7, so it's not an odd number, so it won't continue. It does not fall into this elif condition. So what will happen? It won't break, so it will again print 7. Okay. Now it will increment it with 3 more, that is 10. So now, because this got out of the range, because range was till 1 to 8 only, we had to check that condition. So on the things that will be printed on the screen is 1 and 7. Okay, just to confirm it, we can see. Where should I position the camera? Okay, wait, because in my tablet I had to write. I'll just switch the camera. Wait, not a problem. So yes, this is okay. This is the main window. Okay. I hope that now everything is good. I want to ask you some more questions, but I think now this is time to start the next lecture, so that we don't waste much of the time. But hopefully you got the introspection key. Why do you stand? So the thing is, it is not that कि तुम्हें आएगा नहीं. It is that you have to work very hard. That's the point. The point being कि तुम लोगों ने बहुत कम मेहनत करी है. I'll say in order to from your side, in order to practice these questions, because there is a lot of things. If you have revised these things, and you would have seen a lot of code online, and after seeing that, I think it was easy for you people to do these questions. They are not that hard. My goal was to at least give you people the opportunity to go for interviews in FANG companies, and these are the level 0 questions, and this is expected from a class, I'll say class 8th kid who is just starting the Python. So it is not to demean you or something. It is basically to motivate you, so that so that you can do a little bit of more hard work, and based on that hard work, you will be able to answer these questions really well. Because more we will go in the future sessions, and there will be a lot of material to cover. Still, we are just in our session 6, I'll say. When our session 6, so you hardly have to cover the material of, let's suppose, 4 to 5 hours till now. So if you don't give the hard work, if you don't give your best, the problem is, like, irrespective of how much better I teach, so it won't be beneficial for you. So even I will feel bad कि मैंने तो पढ़ाया, but these people did not put the hard work. Okay, I hope ki, you will revise these sessions thoroughly and then you will practice some questions, and then only can I give assignments. Because if for example, if you see, if I give assignments, the question level of assignments will be harder than this. Like, it won't be just that I'll be giving the assignments based on some like really easy problems. I want you to work hard, or इसीलिए I want to test your understanding first. So I hope that by this brief discussion of 2-3 minutes, you'll at least respect my time, respect your time, and do some, at least some practice at your home, and then come to the next session prepared. So there are the people, for example, there are people who know Python, but still they are making sacrifice for you. कि चलो ठीक है इनके साथ भी पढ़ते हैं Python. But if you are not giving your best, then there is no point. And now this justifies your 4 years of bachelor's. कि तुम लोगों ने शायद वहाँ भी मेहनत नहीं करी होगी. So I'll bluntly say it, you have to work hard. And otherwise from now onwards, I'll scold each one of you. शायद मैं घर आके मारूंगा, because now I'm in Kashmir, so I have that liberty, I can come to your homes. Okay, now let's start our session. I told you there will be a problem if I use. Okay. So we have used this advanced looping techniques, everything that we have used, and I hope now you will revise the previous lectures in order to get a better understanding of these things. So now I'll just explain one data type in detail, because we have seen multiple data types, like there is list, there is tuple, then there is a set, then there are strings. So what I'll do is, because we use these data types quite often, so for these data types there are some advanced things, I think more or less, for lists, tuples, and it is kind of similar. I'll make you understand the strings first. So what will be your homework? So you will have to do the same research for tuples, then lists, then sets, frozen sets, and things like that, that we have seen in our previous sessions. Why is this necessary? Because in our assignments or in our projects, you will be heavily using them. So you must know what are the properties, what are the different methods and functions that we can use on the lists. Is everyone ready? Just give me a thumbs up so that I can see that you are ready. Nice. Okay. So we'll go into strings. So as I told you, strings, they are nothing, it's a sequence of characters. That's why I have mentioned it, it's a sequence of characters, if you see here. So for example, if I write hello in computer's memory, hello is like this. So in a computer, it is basically a sequence of characters. If you see computer's memory, okay, computer's memory, let's assume that it's like this, these boxes are there. Basically Arnold boxes, let's suppose there are flip-flops or something like that. So H will be stored here. So E will be stored here, L will be stored here, L will be stored here, and O will be stored, and then there is \0. This is called null space or null character. So this is a sequence of characters, and it is stored in a continuous fashion in memory. So for example, if people among you know C or C++, you can individually know the location of these characters, and then you can see that they are in the continuous location. The first thing is, string is a sequence of characters, but these characters are continuous. When stored in memory in the computer, they are stored exactly one after other. They are not stored, somebody is stored at one place, other is stored at other place. No, they are stored in a continuous manner. So then how do computers know the string got ended? Because at the end, our computer, it puts a \0. That's sometimes called as null. Okay, null means that you have to stop reading. Okay, computer will basically start reading from here. So it will read HELL. Now when it sees this \0, it means like it is end of file. You might have seen EOF. EOF means end of file, or even for example here you might see end of string as well. This is how in computer's memory these strings are stored. Okay, as you know, in Python we can define them either by single quotes as seen here, or you can use double quotes, or here, or you can use like this as we saw that multi-line comment, you can use triple quotes. Okay, this is how we can create these strings. So whenever you see a diagram like this, I am continuously iterating this so that it gets solidified in your brain. So how do you how you have to think about this? So there is a computer's memory. So whenever this, read it from right to left. Okay, right for left is hello world. So make an object hello world. This is an object, and then is equal means create a link. This is an assignment, and my string single, let's suppose. So assign it to a variable my string. This is what should happen like when you are solving such questions. So now if I print them, you know that these three things are the output that will be produced. Just going to the coding screen so that to show you. I think I had some other questions as well, but you can see on the screen. Are you able to see the screen, coding screen? Okay, nice. So you can see the thing that we are getting over here. Okay. So why am I teaching you? I told you my job here is I'll teach you one data structure here. So now you will have to see, okay, you'll have to find online blogs, read some books, and to see what are the different functions. I'll also give you the tools. देखो मेरा यहाँ पे मकसद ये नहीं है कि तुम लोगों को मेमोराइज कराऊँ, तुम लोगों को बहुत सारी चीज़ें बताओ, बिकॉज देयर इज अ प्लेंटी ऑफ थिंग्स अवेलेबल ऑनलाइन एज वेल. तो हम मैं तुम्हें ये सिखा रहा हूँ बेसिकली कि पढ़ते कैसे हैं, चीज़ों को सीखते कैसे हैं. सो हाउ टू लर्न ऑन योर ओन. तो दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सीइंग कि यहाँ पे अभी मैं क्या करूँगा, आई विल टीच यू स्ट्रिंग्स. ओके, नाउ योर होमवर्क इज गो अगेन, find some good blogs, read about lists. The structure will pretty much similar because now you know list is a data structure. Okay, now let's see how it is stored in the memory, because I told you ki how is string stored in the memory. You have to see how list is stored in the memory. That's the first question. And the second thing is, what is a list basically? Here I told string is a sequence of characters. So actually basically what I am telling you that I am giving you a template of learning. So here I am talking about strings. In the similar fashion, you'll have to do your own research and then do the same research about the other data structures like lists as well. So for example, when you are reading about lists, the thing is you should not just directly go on the blog and just try to read whatever there is. You should first see, okay, what is the definition of list? Let me find it on different blogs and different, maybe some books. Okay, so that's called comparison based learning. So that learning is really difficult and it lasts longer because you are trying to compare different things and which says what about these things, and then it lasts longer in your memory. So what I am doing in strings is I told you a definition, what is string. Then the second thing I told you in this, how is this string stored in the memory location. So list के लिए तुम्हें पहले definition ढूंढो क्या, what is the list, what is basically it. The second thing, how is it stored in memory. तो ये भी मुझे देखना है कि ये store कैसे होता है memory में. So as I said कि ऐसे store होता है memory में, string कैसे store होता है, you will have to find it for the lists as well. Then what I am seeing, how to create a string. Here I have given you how to create a string. So similar fashion में तुम्हें क्या देखना है बाकी data structures के लिए, how to create them. We have also used them, but now your thing is कि तुम्हें उन पे proper research करना है. बिकॉज दैट थिंग जहाँ पे तुम खुद की रिसर्च करोगे वहाँ पे तुम्हें ज़्यादा याद रहेगा. बिकॉज हियर इट्स लाइक स्विमिंग, कि मैं तुम्हें बोल रहा हूँ पानी में उतरो और उसके बाद नाउ हैव दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ मोशन, दिस सॉर्ट ऑफ मोशन, अपनी टांगे ऐसे करो, अपनी बाजुओं को ऐसे ऐसे करो. द थिंग इज ओनली यू हैव टू डू इट इन द वाटर. For example, while I'm explaining, I'll be a better coder than you because I'm explaining. And if I keep on doing this, I'll become better at it. But the thing is, how will you become better? You will become better by doing this sort of learning. So then, what I am seeing is I'll again show you how to access the list. Now we have to access this string. As I told you that this is stored in the memory like this. Okay. So there is a concept of indexing. Indexing means how do we access these things. For example, if a file is stored in the memory in your file system, for example if you are using Windows, so there is a search bar of search, so where you search the file names. So actually how the operating system has stored, it has used indices for all of these. Okay, so if you see how Python sees the lists, so if there is a list, for example 0 1 2, I have stored 14 numbers from 0 to 13. So how does Python indexing work is, so Python indexing works like, sorry, I have maybe, let's suppose our string is this, Python is easy. Okay, so there are 13 characters. So as you saw that this is a list of characters basically. So now we have 0 1 2 3 4 5, even this 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13. Even spaces are as characters as well. So this is one indexing. Okay, this is called positive indexing. Then we have negative indexing. So Python also stores a negative index for each of the string from this, like -1, -2, -3, like this till -14 if you see it. It does not start from 0. From backwards it starts as from -1. So how to assess those strings? Okay, by assessing I mean either retrieving the individual characters or a range of characters. दिस इज व्हाट आई मीन बाय स्ट्रिंग एसएस. सो मुझे, मैं एसएस का मतलब ये बोलता हूँ कि मुझे एक कैरेक्टर चाहिए पर्टिकुलर, या तो मुझे एक सब स्ट्रिंग चाहिए इसमें से, या सम बंच ऑफ कैरेक्टर्स में बी. ओके, सो हाउ डू यू डू दैट? वी यूज दीज square brace. If you see, as I say that we have an indexing in Python. Python uses basically indexed strings. So for example, if I say string of 0, if I somehow, for example, say my string is Python, so Python will be stored like this, Python. Every language has different ways to store things into the memory. Okay, now this is 0 1 2 3 4 5, and then they will have an L character. So if I say my string of 0, so we have this my string, this is the my string. So what will happen here is, this is the 0th index, so we'll go to the zeroth index of my string. So how to read this line? Go to the zeroth index of my string. So we went to the zeroth index of my string. So there we saw P. So we'll assign this first character P. Okay. Then we have my string of 2. My string of 2 is this. It is T. So here the third character will be T. And then you also saw that the Python also use something called as negative indexing. So if you say -1, it's the last element, that's n. So because we have -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6 over here. So Python use negative indexing. So if you say my string of -1, so this n will be retrieved from this. Is this clear? Is this clear how to retrieve, how to access a single character? Somebody speak, because I'm not able to see that screen because I'm on the OBS Studio screen. Nice. So this is how we, okay, this is how we actually assess the screen. So I just give you a template. So following that template, I told you what I am doing is you have to do similar things for list. Go with the definition. Okay. Then you see how it is stored in the memory. Okay, now you have to see how to assess the list as well. Okay. I am doing it for the string. You have to do it for other data structures as well. And then probably if somebody makes a good notes, he can share with other people as well. And I'll ask each one of you, have you done this? Okay, now there is a concept called as slicing. Slicing basically means assessing a substring. So let's define what is substring first. Okay, if for example my name is Musawwir. Okay, if I take a continuous run of characters from anywhere to anywhere, for example I'll take this Musa. Like most of the people they call me Musa. So this is actually a substring. So Musa is a substring of Musawwir. So substring basically is when we take a run of characters without missing a character in between. Okay, you are not missing a character. I can take M, V, R. This is not a substring. This is something called a subsequence. Okay, there's a difference between substring and subsequence. This is subsequence and this is substring. Why am I telling you these terminologies? Because this will appear in a lot of questions when you do some competitive programming. So they'll tell you, okay, find a substring in this. So you must know what is a substring. Sometimes they'll tell you subsequence. For you might have, even if you have read about data structure algorithm, so there is a algorithm for LCS, largest common subsequence. So subsequence basically need not to be continuous. In subsequence, the things only need to be in order. For example, M first, then I took V, and then I took R. I took them in the sequence, and by missing some letters in between. So this is what is the meaning of a subsequence. So what is a substring? It is a run of continuous things. For example, AVIR, it's also a substring. Okay, because I took A till R. I can also take USA. USA is also a substring of Musawwir, name Musawwir. So is this clear? Distinction clear? What is the difference between substring and subsequence? Mavish, I think you should speak on behalf of everybody because I am not able to see the screen. Mavish? Whoever was speaking before, Sharika? Huh. Sharika was there. Sharika, you can speak on behalf of everyone if you are able to hear me, so that I know that you guys are listening to me. So is it clear that what is the meaning of a substring and a subsequence? Nice. So now we want to assess this substring. So we're not assessing subsequence here. So the first target is we want to assess a substring. So for example, if again we have this Python. Okay, I only want to assess characters from YTH. I want to assess these three characters. Okay, how to do that? Now the concept of assessing these substrings is called slicing. Slicing basically क्या होता है कि हम कुछ काट कूट देते हैं. That's what slicing means. Slice this bread. What is the slicing of bread? कि bread ऐसी है, इसके slices कर दो. Okay, that's what. In a string, there is a concept of slicing as well. Okay, so we'll slice this Python. So how to slice it? Again, we'll have the string name. Okay, one will have this str name. That means the string will be there. Then there will be these square braces. If you see it, then what we'll have is we'll have a start, again a stop, and a step size. Similar as we saw in the range function. Okay, we have an index, start index. Okay, and here I have mentioned inclusive. Inclusive means if you started from somewhere, and it will include that element, as was in the range, because the range was also inclusive. It was taking the start as inclusive. And then we have the stop, the end index. Okay, and is exclusive and won't be taken. Okay, then we have a step size. Step size means, so here how many steps do you want? So this is accessing the substring as well as a subsequence if we keep this step size as greater than 1. So by default it basically is just taking a substring. Okay, if you want to take a substring, if you want to make jumps, so you can use the step size as well. Okay, so let's do with this Python. So here, if you see my screen, I have defined my string as Python. So what am I doing is Python is what I have defined. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I have -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. So in the first my string 1 to 4, so what will happen is it will take this 1, it will take this 2, it will take this 3, and it will exclude the 4, because here you can clearly see I have mentioned that last this end step, it is the stop step basically, it is not inclusive, it's exclusive. So these three YTH will be assigned to substring 1. Okay. So if I write like this, 2 is to then nothing. This basically is write as colon. So if I write my string, let's say string 2 is to nothing. So nothing means take everything. Everything means take till the end, till you don't find this backslash 0 symbol. Till you don't find this backslash 0, read everything. If I write and not nothing, and then I write for example 5. It's not 5, let's suppose 3. So if you do not write this starting step, it will take by default from 0. Okay, so that default here, the default value is backslash 0, the last till backslash 0. That means it will include last character as well. Here the default is 0. Okay, so if you see this 1 to 4, YTH should get printed for this. Okay, if you see this 2 is to end, 2 means this THON will get printed for this. If you see this 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2, so the PYT will get printed. Are you with me? Let's go to the coding window and see. Can you see? Okay. So here I'll show it to you. So my string of fun, first I'll print this string. Let's suppose we'll say 3 and 2 as well. So if I run this cell, you can see YTH, THON, PY. So what am I doing here is I am taking a substring, if you see. So I hope that you have, my coding screen is visible. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Now let me again ask you a question based on this Python. So what I'll do is I'll create a substring. Let's say SUB_str. So now I'm saying my string. So what I'm saying is 0, last step, and I'm saying 5, because 5 is not, I think 4 till 4, and then I'm saying 2. So what should be the output? What should be the output of this? And now you have a step size of 2. You have to jump 2 things. If you understand range function, you should be able to do this. Come on, come with the answers. Is everybody with Mahvish? Sorry, I'm again confusing you. I'm confusing you with Mahvish basically. I switched the screen on purpose. Nice that you noticed. Because I'm writing the print function as well. So Sharika, what should be the output? It was 0, 4, 2. 0, 4, 2. That was the step size. 0 was the initial index, 4 was the last index, and 2 is the step size. Sharika, what was your answer? P and T. Nice. Rian, are you there? PH. I am writing as well. 0, 1, 2. Some other answers? P and T, huh? PT. Okay. P and T, you mean? Okay, okay. P and T. Okay, I think P and T is the answer. PT is basically the answer. So let's see how is this the answer. So we started with 0, then 4, then the step size were 2, if you see it. So obviously 0 should get printed. Okay. Then we are moving 2 steps ahead, because 0 plus 2 is 2, so we'll move towards this. So now we have T. So P and T will be printed. So again we wanted to add 2 here. So it will be 2 plus 2 is 4. Where are we? So 2 plus 2 is 4, but at 4 we have, I think, backslash 0. No, but so here we have this 4 as the end index, so we won't take it. If it was till the end, we would have printed. But here you can see that 4 is our last index, so we will not print this last index, because this is exclusive, this is not inclusive. So you got the output as PT. So if you just go to the coding screen and run it, and you can see I just ran it, and you can see the answer is PT if you see it here, over here. Okay. Okay, so I think here you can see it now. PT. Okay. One more question. Can you do one more thing? I'll just write. Let's suppose. What should I write? I'll write 4, and I'll write 1. Okay. 4, 1, and then 1. Why can't I write 1? 1. Then I'll write minus 1. So what will happen? 4, 1, and a minus 1 for the same thing. 4, 1, and minus 1. 4, 1, and minus 1 if you see it. OHT. Any other answers? So what is it doing basically? It is going in the reverse order. It's easy to see. So O, H, and T, because last we won't take that. So because one won't be taken, this is exclusive. This is not inclusive. I hope that you can now do the slicing on your own. Okay, with the every index that will be given towards you. This is how the slicing has been done. What is your job now? You have to see how to retrieve, or is there some other concepts. Now we have some methods as well. Okay, there are some methods, or which we call functions, which you can call on these data structures. For example, if I talk about this string, so there is one method called the length, len. So len, this basically returns the length of the string. If I have this Python Python, so it basically has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 characters in it. So if I say len of this my string, so it will print 6. So len is a function. So there are different functions like that. Okay. So based on this, you have to also find what are the functions. So if you want to see what are the different functions or different attributes that are associated to a particular data structure, or to a particular class in per se, because everything is a class, everything is an object in Python if you see. So I'll go to the coding screen and show you there is a beautiful function for that. So here I'll just add a cell, and there is a function dir. So if I say dir of string, so here I have my string. So I'm saying dir of my string. So let me first run this cell so that detect it. So now my string is of type string str. So dir of my string, it will show me all the methods that are there. So you can see there is an add method, there is a class container dir, and if you see there are methods like capitalize, case fold, center, count, and every function has something to do. And you have, for example, if you saw this, there will be a function capitalize, or is upper, is lower, something like that. Here is lower, is a digit, is a decimal, is ASCII, is alpha, and something. All of these are functions, and we have seen this split function as well. Okay, swap the case. Make, that means make lowercase uppercase and upper lowercase. So these functions you can call on the string. Okay, so this is the function dir. So if you want to check what are the different methods that are applicable for a particular object, you just write dir, then in the braces write my string, that your object, whatever object you are typing it for. So I just showed one method, len method. So length method will be also there somewhere. Okay, you can just check it in this list. So there is a huge list, so I think it should be there somewhere. So I hope that you now know how to do a research about data structures in general. If somebody tells you there's a data structure, this, how to do a research, and you should have a pragmatic approach, an approach which will say, okay, what's the definition? Okay, then how to assess these things, how it is stored in the computer's memory. Okay, what are the additional functions that are there defined by the authors of the language? So you should all be knowing all of this. So again, I'll show you some more things in string. What are there in the string? So there is again a membership thing. For example, you can check whether there is, for example, this thon, it is a substring of Python. So you, by using this membership operator in, you can check if this thon is basically a substring of any other string. So here it will give the answer as true, because here thon is the substring of Python. So we say thon in my string. Okay, as you know now, you can also, because this is indexable, as you have indices where you can access, by which you can access these elements. So from that you can get it by character by character. You are saying for character in my string. So in says take character one by one, okay, and then say print characters. And by using this, we can also print the locations of these things. Okay, let me show you the coding screen. Oh, nice. There is some problem with the mouse. Okay, it got fixed now. Nice. Let's go over here. Okay, so can you see here? So here it should contains should print true. So I know that, and I can print it as well. So print, for example, I'll say contains. So here you saw that true. Now I told you that if you use this in operation, it will take these things character by. It will first print p, then y, then thon. If you see it, it will be like this. It will be p, y, thon Python. You saw that on the screen. So what I told you about the strings is that strings are stored in continuous memory locations. If I make a claim, I should be able to prove it. Okay, no, nobody among you told me, sir, can you prove it? Because we don't believe you, and maybe I was lying. Okay, but you put a trust on me. Okay, let's see like where you right, or was I just messing with you? So what I can do is I can print ID of the character. ID means I can print location of the character. ID is again a function which can be called on each character. I can see. So did you saw that here? The locations, they are not different. Like after 393, it should be 394. But it should be 393. Then but it is 968 something. Or in whole of these things got changed. The whole of address got changed. Was that right even? I told you that these strings are stored in a continuous fashion. Like these character strings, each character in the string is stored in a continuous fashion. Any answers? Was I wrong? Because clearly here you can see. Is it continuous though? Just first explain. Is it continuous? Is it Rian? Is it continuous? It is not. Okay. So first, everybody agrees that this is not continuous. I am waiting for your answers. They are not continuous. Okay. Let's establish this fact first. They are not continuous. Okay. Now, tell me one thing. I told you that string is stored as continuous sequence of characters. So was I wrong? Was I right? How was I right? Because here the answers are showing it is wrong. That's where critical thinking comes in. So you should think, for example, if I made a claim, there should be a way to prove it. And when I tried to prove it, you saw that, oh my god, this is not continuous. What did I saw? There can be either of two things. Either these addresses are continuous, and I am right, or this is not continuous and I am wrong. So which statement is true? My job is not here to teach you things, to memorize the things that time. My job here is to make you basically learn how to learn things. कि चीज़ों को पढ़ते कैसे हैं, चीज़ों को सीखते कैसे हैं. So I made a claim, I had to prove it. When I went on proving, that you saw a drastic result, something on the screen. Jahangir, so was I right or was I wrong? How am I right? So the answer shows contrary. तुम लोग इतना सही मानते हो मुझे, इंटरप्रेटर गलत बोल रहा है. So here it is 1392, then we have 5962, then 8, then again, then numbers are changing basically. Rian, do you have any answer for this? I was wrong, huh? Okay, let's now shed a light on this. Like, why is it so? Why is the input like this? I hope now you are able to see my screen again. Okay, character basically does not just take one single address. How address is basically that's called byte addressable. Okay, how are we addressing computer's memory? I don't think like anybody will tell you in this computer courses, so I should tell it somehow because these people skip these things when I ask the question. The thing is, memory is byte addressable. Memory is byte addressable usually. Like sometimes it's not byte addressable. We call that word addressable. There's a word thing. I don't want to go into that. Okay. So what is the meaning of this byte addressable? For example, for each byte of the memory, we are giving a memory location name. Okay. Are you with me still? So for each memory, for example, if we have number of bytes, so for each of the byte in the memory, we'll give a memory address to each of these. Now you know that character just does not take only one byte. So here we assume that I told you that is the memory location continuous. So it actually is continuous. Why is it continuous? Because the one character of Python or one character in any language, it does not just take one byte. It takes more than one bytes. Okay, so that you can check on python.org how much does a character take. Character will take more than one byte. So if I go again to the coding screen, so here you can see that the first number was 1392. Okay, then we got increasing order number 596. That means from starting from 1392, character took that number, this character P, till 5968, till that address. That was the first character, that much of the space this P took. Then the second Y, it took the space from 5968 till 8623. Okay, do you understand now? I was right and the Python was also right. But the assumption there, I didn't told you that the character does not just take one byte, it takes multiple bytes. And so the memory is not, for example, it will not address randomly, it is byte addressable or word addressable, I'll say. Is it clear? Yes, yes. Haha. No, it's not less than. You can see 5 9. Then again it went to 9 here if you see it. Ha ha ha. Right. So now the answer is, if you have this sort of memory, then now we need to look at the Python's interpreter. Nice observation. Python have interpreter, for example, it might have not stored in the continuous memory. So for all the strings, usually it is stored in continuous memory. But you can say here, as you saw that now this got decreased, and this is the change. So first we have 6, then 4, then again 6. So now we can claim that in Python, strings are not stored in the continuous memory. Nice observation though. It's a good thing. So these are observations, but all the discussion that I made, it is valid for the points where, for example, in language like C, C++, and other language, because their string is stored. And I don't know, Python might, like, because Python's new version 3.10 has come, and there they might have not kept it continuous. So I told you the reason for why should it be continuous, and if it is continuous, and if you can, and you will usually get these numbers wrong, because there will be some other numbers will be there, and but there will be an increasing order. Okay, for this now your homework is how Python stores it. Okay, nice that Python has changed it. It does not store in the continuous memory. And how does it store it? It basically stored in discontinuous memory, and it may store in the links as well. So you need to see the system design underneath. Nice observation, Rian. But what our discussion is not nullified. Why I'm saying is because all the other languages like C, C++, or if they are stored in the continuous memory, the discussion is valid there. This is how basically memory is being stored. Like these continuous things are stored. I think everything, like everybody should have attention like this. So because here these numbers were you can see till here 6, then we got a number which is even less. This is less than basically the previous number. So this clearly shows that Python does not store the string in a continuous value. So maybe this can be the change in Python version 3, as but the theory still holds for the things where the strings are stored in the continuous manner. Okay, still this discussion holds there. So am I audible? Hello? Yes, yes. So nice observation, Rian. That you saw. That's why I'm saying that you should have these sort of discussions so that I also know that I need to update my knowledge, because I was thinking that Python stores in a continuous manner, but New version of Python has come, and maybe they are not using the continuous memory. And if somebody tells you they're using continuous memory, check by this method that I showed you. Okay. Now we have have this membership operation. We saw how to use this. Now there are other methods as well. For example, concatenation. So what it does, it will basically take two strings and it will concatenate it together. So if I have a string 1 is hello and string 2 is world. So if I use this plus operator, you must have learned about what is called as overloading. This is some sort of overloading. Okay. So if you see this, because plus we use it sometimes for integers. If you use plus in strings, so by default the interpreter of Python has been programmed to tell that this plus should just concatenate these two states. It should put them together. So here if I print this result, so the result should be hello world. Oh, sorry, I was not sharing the screen and you guys did not even told me. So what I'm saying is, if I have a string hello, so you can see it here. So if I have string 2 hello world, so if I am using this plus operator, okay, if I am using this plus operator says that when this plus operator is written in between two strings, just concatenate them together, make them like this: HELLOWORLD. Okay, it will just concatenate and make a string, for example, out of this result, and this, if I print this result, I should get this output. So this is another method. So what I wanted, why did I show you this method? Because you can see clearly, because this plus is overloaded here. Overloaded here, it serves multiple functions. If you use it in terms of integers, it will add the things up. But if you use it in terms of strings, it will concatenate these things. Now we have this, if we want to slice and concatenate together, so you can do this code. For example, you can slice half of the string, or you can slice some more string and then put it together and then make out strings out of this. Then there are for example the functions like replace as well, which I don't want to go into detail. So in this my goal is to teach you how to learn, not just to memorize you the functions. अगर तुम्हें उसके बाद कोई और लैंग्वेज भी है इन जनरल, अगर तुम्हें लाइफ में बोला जाए कि तुम कैसे सीखते हो, दिस शुड बी अप्रोच. सो अप्रोच कैसा होना चाहिए? आई जस्ट टुक अ डेटा स्ट्रक्चर, फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से स्ट्रिंग. ओके, तो उसके बाद मैंने इसकी डेफिनेशन देख ली, सो हाउ इट इज डिफाइंड, तो वो चीज़ देख ली. तो उसके बाद हाउ इज स्टोर्ड इन मेमोरी. नाइस दैट it is not stored in continuous. We got something. It is not stored in continuous memory, but in Python, this is specific to Python. But in other languages like C, C++, or even in Java, it is stored in continuous. And still, this is your homework as well. So it is stored in continuous memory and location in Python. So it is not clearly, because we just printed the memory and it is not stored in the continuous. That too in 3.x versions, like maybe some higher versions of like Python 3.10 or 3.9 or something like that. And second, we saw how to assess this. And then we saw what are different methods that we can do on the strings. What are their methods? And we saw a beautiful function dir. So if you write dir, then in between you write any data type. So it will give all the methods. Basically here the class is the argument. Or we can say the object of the class is the argument to this. It will give all the methods correspond to that class. Okay. So this is how you should learn a thing. My job here is not to teach you strings, because everywhere there are strings. So you can just go on web and read about strings. So the thing here is you should learn how to learn things. Okay, and we also learned a very important thing. If somebody makes a claim, the first thing is ask for the proof. If there is a proof, he'll prove the thing. For example, I told you this is stored in the continuous memory, and I tried to prove it. And in my memory, I had the knowledge that how to, and even I saw the numbers. Then Rian found a mistake that no sir, I don't think that these things agree. This is how you should do the things. Then only will you on the learning path. Otherwise, there is a like real problem. कि अगर वो learning ऐसे rote learning होगी कि तुम याद कर रहे हो, and then you are seeing that in somebody is, for example, doing something, and then you are again memorizing the whole things. But in general, I am saying that read the books and the stuff and try to see can it be wrong, can it be right, things like that. So am I okay with this? Should I go forward? So I think it was a good discussion that now your job is to learn about other data structures on your own, and I want you to learn in the same way. And I don't want you to go to just one blog and then see something is written there. Just go down to the books where you need to compare the things and then see if something is being updated, because every here and there the people are updating the things, and then you might have to be like you might have to help yourself to keep updated. Okay, now let's go to this escape sequences. What are these escape sequences in Python? So they are special characters. Okay, here this is a sequence of special characters. So because they what they do is they'll represent certain special symbols or certain special actions, I'll say. Okay, for example, if I want to print hello and world like this, I should print hello first, followed by the world. My first method is that I can print these two things separately. That's the first thing. Otherwise, what I can do is I can drop this backslash n. This backslash n is called new line symbol or new line escape sequence. So I can drop this in between this. So what will happen is if I print this hello world now, so hello will get print on the first line, and this backslash n, it will get the cursor to the next line and print this world. Okay, so what are escape sequences? So they are special sequence of characters. So what will they do? They'll do some certain actions, like we just space for them. For example, for this backslash n, this is defined that if backslash n is there, so go to the next line. That's why it's called new line escape sequence. Okay, then we have this backslash b, backslash t, and backslash r. For example, if you see this tab backslash, if you want a tab between this hello and world, so you will put backslash t, something like that. And also read about these sequences. So these are the escape sequences that are defined in the Python. So we have even symbols as well. For example, there are Unicode symbols. I don't want to go into detail, otherwise it'll again eat a lot of time. Okay, so these are special symbols. For example, if you want to write double quotes, so here you need to write like this, backslash double quote. Then only it will get printed within the string. Because I told you we can form a string with double quotes. So you can write hello and world. If you want to print these double quotes as well, just have a slash before this, have a slash, and enclose it with the single string, let's suppose. Things like that. So you can do it like this. These are called escape sequences. So here I have given the example of all escape sequences. So you can also print them, so you'll get these as the outputs. Okay, now I want to again open a discussion for this numeric data types, because there are some things to learn. Data types. Okay, so how can a number be represented? If you know that we generally represent number by decimals. We have decimal system, let's suppose. So if you see in that decimal system, we have symbols till 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3 till 9. If I want you to tell me, okay, what's the value 19? So you'll write 1, 9, 19, 20, 2, 2, 0, 20. But what if I give you binary? So binary is also, there is also counting system called as binary. So everything will represent ones and zeros. What if I give you octal? So octal system has only 8 symbols. It has 0, 1 till 7. This is octal symbol. So if I give you hexadecimal, hexadecimal has 0 till 9, then A, B, C, D till F. There are 16 symbols in hexadecimal system. So how many of you do know about these number systems? Tell me first. Okay. Okay, nice. Most of you know, because now because you have done digital log design, that there you might have read about these. So for example, if I write, because if you see those keywords and those things when we were defining in the first class, I want to go back to that thing because I want to just make you learn and the new thing. So I think my screen is visible, the coding screen. Okay, is it visible? Nice. So what I'll do here is, so I'll just create here. So if I write, let's suppose number 1, I'll write a number and I'll give 10. I'll give print number 1. So what should be the output of this? Is there an error or something like that, or screen is not visible, but is visible now? Is it visible? Huh. So can you tell me what should be the output of this? Okay, it should be 10. Obviously it should be 10. Okay, if I write 0 in front of it, what should be the output of this? If I write 0, 0, 1, 0. Okay, so let's just clarify this, if it is. Is it? So what is it for? Leading 0 in decimal literals are not permitted, so you cannot put leading zeros. So let us suppose I'll put something like this. I'll put 0 and O. So what do you expect? Now I mixed numbers. 0 even was not accepted. So I put even another letter. So what should be the output? Voila. That's 8. What happened? Nice, it's octal. So Python also support, not only Python, every other language supports octal. So this is 8 So this number 0, 1, 0, 10, it represents in octal. So in octal 10 is equal to 8 basically in decimal. Okay. So if I write 0 followed by O, then it is octal. If I write 0 followed by X, then it is hexadecimal. If I write 0 followed by B, it's binary. Okay. So are you with me this? So that's what I wanted to show you. So here I have mentioned in binary numbers. So if you write 0b, then write a binary number. So it will be treated as a binary now. So if you write 0x, this is hexadecimal. If you write 0o, it is as an octal literal, and you can convert within each other based on these things. This is also you can do. You can also take these things from as an input, even in other languages as well. I think C also supports it. C++ also supports these sort of things. So some people might feel like, even when I read it for the first time, I think back when I was in my class when I started the coding, and I was like, how can it accept it? And for that we must know this number system, because these are the 4 classic number systems that we usually use in computers: octal, binary, hexadecimal, and decimal systems. Am I clear with this? If I run this cell, you can clearly see the answers. You can clearly see decimal 13. So but when you print the things, so for if you print the things, if you assign it, it will give answers in decimal. But you can do conversions accordingly as well. As I said, you have the functions as bi and bin. Bin means to convert it into binary. Hex means convert into hexadecimal. You can also convert into octal as well. So there are functions as well. Okay, this is the thing that I want you to remember, that if something is given in octal, binary, or other than decimal, basically, you also must know that these things do exist in other language and Python as well. Okay, let's go back to the original screen. So now comes our important discussion today, that is functions. Let me write with the blue color, functions. Okay. I think this is the most important discussion. But till now, we haven't discussed about how to do stuff, and if you want to research on your own, then this was the original topic that I wanted to discuss today. Functions. So let's define like how first what is the use of function, because everything must have use, otherwise there is no case. So हम लोग क्यों ही पढ़ रहे functions को? Okay. So what is our strategy? First we'll define, and then we'll see use क्या है इनका. So let me define these functions in very unformalized vague terms. So function basically क्या होता है? They are building. I have mentioned it. They are building blocks of code that perform some specific task or operation. That's general definition. I'll say informal definition of function. So why is it used? So if you want to make your code more organized, that's the first thing. You want your code to be more organized. Then you want your code to be readable. Then you want your code to be reusable. These are 3 things. More organized means when you are writing code, it should not look like a mess. Okay, it should look pretty much neat and clean. Then if you want to make it readable, so for example, you are writing the code in such a way that ki likhe main padhe khuda, it should not be like that. If you are writing the code, you should also read it, and other people should be able to read it. If you want to make your code readable as well, and if you want to make your code reusable, by reusable I mean if you want to do the certain action again and again, so you can reuse the same code. You do not need to copy paste the code. You can reuse the code somehow. That's where these functions are useful. Okay. So what functions are? So if I talk about formal definition, so they are actually a set of statements. So what it does is, so there is a set of statements which are grouped together. So I'll put set of statements and I'll group them together. I'll group them. Okay. So I have a set of statements. I'll group them together and maybe call a name. So कभी ऐसा होता है, for example, if you want to walk. So walking actually is a process. So उसमें क्या होना पड़ता है? First stand up, then for example move your this leg and move your this leg. There are 3-4 steps involved in walking. If I put this procedure together and call it walk, I am basically grouping a number of statements together, and then when I call walk, that basically the action of walking will be done. Similar thing with the functions. So if there is a group of statements and I want to group them together, if there are statements and I want to group them together to achieve a specific task, so what I'll do is I'll name that thing, and that will call a function. Okay, again I'll just reiterate what are the benefits of function. Code readability, that you will be writing the code which people will it will be easy for people to read it. Then we have code reusability. You can reuse the code again and again, because you do not need to copy paste, or you don't need to for example again write the same code or stuff like that. Then there are built-in functions available in Python library too. And then we have user defined functions that I'll define what are these. Built-in functions are the functions which are available to use by Python. When you install the Python, for example, if you are using Linux system, you will install by default there is Python installed. But if you are using Windows system, you will install the Python. So in that you will get some functions like print. Okay, you'll get a function like add, things like that. So what will happen there is, so these functions you can easily call without even writing the code for them. This code is written by the people who have contributed to Python, or who are the initial creators of Python. So they are called built-in functions. Then there are user-defined functions. For example, if you want to do a certain thing, for that you are defining a function that's called user-defined, like broadly specifying what are the different types. So how is a function defined? Let's see the syntax first. So हमारे पास पहला होता है keyword यहाँ पे def, and then we give the function a name, and here we give the function name. Then we'll put these braces. So in there we'll take input basically. Okay, then we'll write our code, our group of statements. So at high level, how does the function look like? So एक function, call it a machine, let's suppose. It is like a machine. Okay, it takes some input and it gives some output. Okay, or even it can, here the machine processes things basically. In a broad sense, if you want to tell me what is a function takes something, does something, or even it cannot sometimes take input, and it cannot sometimes give output as well. Okay, so for it may do something, but maybe it is not visible, for we don't want to take some change from out of it, but it will do certain things on something. For example, it may not be the input that it takes. Okay, so for example, let's define a basic function first to see what is the syntax of function. So here you can see I have written def, then I have written greet. This greet is the name of the function. Then I have these two brackets basically, then a colon, then I am saying print hello. So now I need to call this function. Okay, calling this function means I have created some groups of statements are there which I have clubbed together. Then I want to call this. So this is how calling a function is done. So in every language there is a function and there is a function call. Okay, so I want to also go into the details of how function call is being done. I think I'll take it some other day probably. The first thing is, if I want to create a function, write this def, then function name. Function name again should be follow the same identifier rules that we have seen, I think, in our session 2 or something. So then if you call this function like this, then you'll be getting these things executed. So basic thing is, write definition, write a function name, and then a function body. This is called function body. So function body will be executed when you call the function. Okay, so you have to call the function, and this function body will get executed as the normal code gets executed. Let's suppose I want to show you the coding window, and I want to print, let's suppose I want to sum two numbers. Here you can see the greet word. I think it's clear, pretty much clear with you. I want to, let's suppose, do the addition of two numbers. For what I'll do is, I'll say a is equal 10, then I'll say b is equal 30. I'll say print a plus b. Let's suppose a plus b. As usual, it will print 30. So what I want to do now is, I want to club these. I want to actually create a function out of it. So I'll just cut down this. So I'll write definition. I'm just putting addition. I'm doing addition. Okay, let's suppose I'm not taking any input, and I'll just paste this code over here, and I'll just indent it properly. Okay, now I want to call this function. So what will happen here is addition. Oh my god, it is visible basically. It is, why is it not visible? I think that's the problem with the connection. Maybe problem with will be maybe with your connection or my connection, but I think it is visible. Okay, so what I'm saying is, initially what I wrote here is, I wrote just these three statements. So what I did is, I wrote these three statements. Let's do one thing. So what I did is, I had without function, I wrote these three statements. If I execute these three statements, obviously the 30 will get printed on the screen. Now my job here is, I want to make a function out of this, because I think that I'll be using this code again and again. So what I'm doing here is, I'm just putting these three statements under a definition. So what I'm doing is def, then I'm writing addition. Okay, then I'm not taking any parameters. Then what I'm doing is, I am just pasting other lines as well. So here we have these lines pasted. So just print this, and now I'll call this function. If I call this function, I'll call like this, addition, and followed by these things. So here you can again see the 30 got printed. So basically what I did is, somebody again, now Mahesh is coming. So here what I did is I just wrote these statements under a function and I called this function. Again, now still this function is not being able to do much. But I want to take the input as well. So what I'll do is I'll write what I call parameters. I'll write a comma b over here. Okay, then I'll delete these things. Now here I can take a and b, so I can take different numbers, so it gives me a flexibility. So here initially I had just hard coded the values. I just wrote a is equal 10, b is equal 20. That was hard coding. So, but I want to be a little bit flexible. I want to tell the user call any two numbers. Addition, if I write 10, let's suppose I write 10 in the argument, and then I write, let's suppose, 45. Now I print it. You can see now it became flexible. Initially when I was calling these things, it was hard coded a and b. I couldn't even call these things, and these things are called function parameters. The things that I am calling the input is called function parameter. Okay, here I got this as a printed, but if I want to use this 55 anywhere, I cannot use it right now. So for that, what I'll do is I'll return the ABC. Basically, I'll not just print it, I'll return it. Return a plus b. This means like now I'll be able to use it. Now I can store this value somewhere. So I can store this value in ABC, let's suppose. And if I want to print this ABC, print ABC. So here you can see now this print 55 got printed because of this print statement, and the second 55 got printed because of this statement. Initially I did not have the capability to store the value somewhere because I was not returning anything. I was returning none basically. So before this I had a function like this. I couldn't use this value somewhere. So for example, if I run it again, here the print ABC, it basically should be none because we return none. You saw that it is none. Okay, so what is a function? This is our input, which are called parameters. Then this return is basically our output that we can use and manipulate again in some other functions. So is this clear? How do we use functions? I just showed you a simple example. So is this clear? In the code itself, what do you mean by that? No, no, no. I didn't understand the question again. Come up again. I didn't understand your question. Yes, yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then the function. Why are you using functions then? What I am saying is parameter in addition is 10 and 45 right here. If you see it. So let me again to clarify this again. मैं कुछ चीजें बताऊंगा कि हाँ. Okay. हाँ हाँ हाँ. Okay. Right. 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 So here you will write 10 comma 45. Yeah, right here. Right here. Oh, these are not the variables then. So you are using for example 1045. So you are again giving the values, but these things they just take parameters. Parameters basically mean some placeholders. Input में ऐसे बाउल्स होनी चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं कि तुम यहीं से डायरेक्ट दे रहे हो. So giving input is here. Here we are defining the function. Even like you cannot use like while calling you can do this, but while defining a function you cannot do this basically. Why do you want to even do this? The question is why are you even doing this? So the thing is here we take placeholders जहाँ पे हमारे values store होंगे. Okay, so it should not be hard coded values because the hard coded values you will give, for example the values you will give here. These values you will give here, and these will be the containers or we say placeholders कि a में ये 10 जाएगा, 45 ये b में जाएगा. Then we will manipulate these variables basically in the function. Nice that you came up with this doubt, so that like other people might have this doubt कि ऐसा क्यों नहीं कर सकते हम लोग. Okay. So now we have these function parameters. Function parameters are the values passed to the function. Okay. So अगर हमारे पास अभी था definition, then we have addition, and then we had some parameters here. And to be clear, here we take the memory location names, for example a, b, some variables, some placeholders which will take your values. Okay. And parameters are specified within the braces separated by commas. You must separate them with commas. However many arguments do you want to take? That's up to you. Okay. The first thing is these default arguments. Okay, what is the default argument? Let's see what's the default argument. So if I write a definition greet, then here I have two parameters. The first is name and the second is greeting. And to the greeting I'll give it actually a value that you just said, like मैं 40 देना चाहता हूँ. You cannot just give it 40. You have to assign it to some variable. I'm having a variable again and I'm assigning it to it. For example, if somebody is calling this greet now, अगर ये greet को call किया जा रहा है, and if somebody is just calling Alice, so Alice कहाँ store होगा इस name में? Okay, this Alice will get stored into this name. For the second argument, nothing was there given, so it will take this default argument. ये default ले लेगा because that default was given hello. So for the second thing, अगर मैं ऐसा लिखूँ, यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा है Bob and then hi. So what will happen is Bob will get assigned to this name, and the hi, it will override this hello now. It will write hi over instead of this. So did you saw the difference in default? Sometimes some arguments are given some default parameters. कुछ arguments को हम लोग कुछ default चीजें देते हैं, जैसे इस greeting को हमने hello by default दे दिया. So you can do one thing, you can either do not call it, then default value will get printed. Otherwise you can call it, then the value will get overwritten. So if I just call this function, you will get hello Alice and hi Bob. So in the second case, the Bob basically it was hi over it, hi actually overwrited this hello. Is this clear? What are default parameters? Is this clear? Okay, so these are default parameters and you will be frequently giving these default parameters. कभी कभी क्या होता है, sometimes you don't want to, in the function you want to take some default. अगर कोई चीज़ 100 बार में से 5 for example 90 बार हो रही है और 10 बार को change करनी पड़ती है, so it's best to give that as default argument. So if I am using a function 100 times और in 100 times मैं क्या करता हूँ, मैं एक argument 90 times same रहता है और उसको मैं 10 ही बार चेंज कर रहा हूँ. सो बेटर है कि उसको बाय डिफॉल्ट एक आर्गुमेंट दिया जाए वो नाम, क्योंकि यू वाइल कॉलिंग यू डोंट कॉल दैट अगेन एंड अगेन, बाय डिफॉल्ट वो हो जाए. इसको इसलिए बाय डिफॉल्ट कहते हैं. बाय डिफॉल्ट में इफ यू डोंट गिव इट विल हैपन. Now we have something called as keyword arguments. Okay, so we have keyword arguments. So what are these keyword? They are also called as named arguments. So in this we have this name, age and gender. These are the three arguments that this function takes. Describe a person. So we are taking a name, we are taking an age, we are taking a gender. So what we are printing basically is the name of the person, age of the person, gender of the person. So while calling the function, if you see the function call over here, you can see while calling the function, we're again writing name is equal to this, age is equal to this, gender is equal to this. So we can also, for example, describe person. We can also call the function like Alice, then comma 25, then comma female. Let's suppose something like this. This will directly go into name, age and gender. Sometimes you have more than 2, 3, 4, 5 arguments. Then it is difficult to maintain the order. किस order में मैं लिखूं? Then there is a problem because you have to keep the order in your mind as well. तो उसके लिए अच्छा यह है कि instead of writing the order, we just write the name. अगर मैं इस age को यहाँ भी रख दूं ना अब, so for example, if I just take name and then gender, then age, so it will still accept it. So let me again demonstrate in the code so that I'll clarify it more. This is we are talking about keyword arguments. For example, here we have describe a person. So I would have called this function like this. I would have called this function describe. Okay, describe the person. I would have called named it. Let's suppose we have Zubair. Okay, then let's suppose Zubair's age is some 39, something like this, and he's a male. Suppose. Okay, now if I print this line, without is it visible? So what I'm doing is here I have a describe function that I showed you. Now I'm calling this describe function. So I'm saying why is it happening again and again? Okay, nice. So here describe person is this function. I am calling it by name Zubair. This name will go into this name argument. This 39 will go into this age. This male will go into this gender. That's what it's supposed to be. So if I print this, so the printing should be Zubair, name Zubair, age 39 and gender is male. If I run it, you can clearly see. Okay. What if I mess the output? What if I just wrote this age? I'll just do one thing. I'll write the 39 over here. Now what will happen is the Zubair will get assigned to the name, male will get assigned to age and 39 to the gender. So output will be Zubair, male and 39 if you see it now. Zubair, male and 39 you saw. So order of these parameters, they do matter. If you do not call them in order, you have to call them in order to get the output that you require. But in order to because there will be this problem अगर हमारे पास बहुत सारे arguments है, बहुत सारे parameters. So what will happen there is, because we cannot keep the track of what should come first, what should come next. So for that we have keyword arguments. So in that we'll write the things. So what we'll do is, you can see here, I'll say to the name assign Alice, to the age assign 25, to the gender assign female. If I now run it again, it will show the accurate answers. Now if I switch even this age, for example, I'll move it to here. I'll move it to here. Again, output should be the same, because now I have explicitly told the program that age is 25, because this is what keyword argument is. Again, you can see age is 25 now. There is no change. Is this clear? What is keyword arguments and why do we use them in coding? Is it clear? Hello, hello. Am I audible? Okay, so what am I saying is that I'm saying that keyword argument is required when you have a lot of parameters and you don't want to keep the track of which comes first, which comes in next, and basically the order you don't want to. You can just give the name and assign it the values. So that's called the keyword argument. I again cover the positional arguments as well. So I cover the positional argument. So here I have seen A, B, C. So A, B, C will be this 2 will be assigned to A, this 3 will be assigned to B, 4 will be assigned to C. If we write 6, 8, 9, so in order they will be assigned if there is no keyword. So that's called positional argument, the position matter here. Okay. Then we have something called as arbitrary argument length. Okay. So arbitrary argument means that if we want to take the variable number of arguments. So if you define a function, for example, you have defined and you define a funcf function, and you do not know how many arguments will there be. For example, in case of addition, तुम्हें नहीं पता कि यूजर को कितने नंबर चाहिए एडिशन करने के लिए. Probably it can be 2, it can be 3, it can be 4, it can be 5. So if you write a function like this, I want to add only 2 numbers, so the problem है. So if I write a and b only here, and then I'll say let's suppose print ab, print a plus b, but maybe user wants to give more arguments. For that you might have to write a separate function, define function 2. तो फिर abc, तो ये 3 के लिए रहेगा. For example, there you'll write print abc, a plus b plus c. सो अगर तुम्हें 4 के लिए रखना पड़े, अगेन अ प्रॉब्लम. ओके, तो इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए, टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम, पाइथन गिव्स अस वेरिएबल आर्ग्यूमेंट्स. ओके, तो इन वेरिएबल आर्ग्यूमेंट्स में क्या होता है, विल गो इनटू डिटेल. द फर्स्ट थिंग इज दिस स्टार args. So we can write a function like this. If I write, for example, in the case of multiplication, I'll write a function define multiply, then I'll write star args. Star args means basically this is a variable argument. Now howsoever numbers will you give me an argument, it doesn't matter to me. What I'll do is I'll say a number in the args. This number will be basically a list. So I'll take the list of these arguments now. So for when I call this multiply, and I'll call it by numbers, let's say 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have 4 numbers. These 4 numbers will be basically given as a list. Okay. So then we'll access these lists by using a for loop, and then we'll return the result. If you see it over here, we'll return the result. So here we had that problem initially. If we want to write a function which sums up any arbitrary number of multiplies any arbitrary number of numbers, so for that we can use this star args. Okay, let me go to the coding window to show it. So here we have. So for example, if we had this multiply only, there are 3. If I want to multiply 4 numbers, this function cannot do the multiplication of 4 numbers because the argument itself are 3. So for this, Python solves it by using this args. So here we have, I haven't written the doc strings as well. Just let me delete these doc strings. So what I'm doing is, here you can see the function in function call. I'm giving as 2, 3, 4, 5. When I multiply it, you'll just get 120 as output. I can even add more 56, 112, 36, something like this. I added some more arguments, and I'll just print, and you can see that product of these many numbers happened. So this is the first star args. And what is this? And you can see this is a list type. So if you want to see, you can see type, and then you can write args in order to confirm whether I'm right. I can be wrong again here. Why? Because I know Python 3. I think 3.2 I have started reading the document, and after that I have stopped it. Now I need to see if it's a list in reality. It should be a list. So print, it should be type, it should print list if I am updated with my knowledge. Nah, this is tuple. Okay, but it does not make the difference though. So tuple also, so we have this tuple. So if you want to print these numbers, you can print the star over here. So basically you can use this list or tuple, and there is only one difference, that is one is mutable, other is not mutable. Okay, I think it is tuple. I was wrong in the place, so it is tuple. So that's why I'm saying if you make a claim, just check it. So I need not to memorize these things, and it's like waste of my memory even. कि मुझे क्यों ही याद करना? I can just check it. पर मुझे पता है कोई तो data type है इसमें. So that's how you can check your knowledge. Because I cannot memorize whole documentation of Python. तो इससे अच्छा है कि I'll check on the purpose कि इसमें क्या list में रख रहा है, tuple में रख रहा है, what will happen in there. Okay, but I know it stores it somewhere. So for that I have functions. I just call that, and it says I stored in the tuple. Okay. So is this clear? What is this star args doing? Is it clear? Somebody speak. Yes. So this is the variable arguments. Then we can again take these variable arguments. For example, if I know that I want to take variable argument, but some arguments will be fixed with that. So with respect to that, I have written a code here. For example, give me first, and then we have second argument, then give me variable number of arguments. So I'll ask you a question like this. So here we have args1, args2, and star args. So the output that, for example, the function call, if you see right here, the function call that you will see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what will be the value of args1? What will be the value of args2? And what will be the value of args? Can anybody tell me? So yeah, args1 का value क्या होगा? If I switch the screen back to my tab and I want to write it there. So here, because I am giving arguments as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So here I have args1, args2, and args, only args. I told you that this takes multiple arguments in the form of a tuple. Okay. So when I print arg1, so what should get printed? When I print arg2, what should get printed? And when I print args, what should get printed? I want to answer in 10 seconds. It's not that difficult. Right, nice. So that should be the answer. So if I just print this, if I go back to the coding window, if I print it, you can clearly see we got 1, then we got 2, then we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the form of tuple. What is my point? I'll again reiterate, do not memorize. You saw me that I am not memorizing anything. Like for example, I thought it is a list, but I did not memorize it. But it was a tuple. So the thing is, I can check it on the go. You need not to memorize syntax. You need not to memorize the things of language. You need to understand कि कौन सी चीज़ें क्या कर सकती है. And for that, अंडरस्टैंडिंग यू नीड टू वर्क हार्ड. आई वोंट से कि तुम लोग एक चीज़ करो, यू विल डू वन थिंग कि तुम ये पूरी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन मेमोराइज करो. बिकॉज पाइथन की डॉक्यूमेंटेशन आई विल से इट इज ह्यूज बुक्स. यू कैन नॉट रीड द होल डॉक्यूमेंटेशन ऑलवेज. बट द थिंग इज यू शुड नो समथिंग एग्जिस्ट देयर एंड यू कैन सर्च इट मे बी ऑनलाइन एंड यू कैन जस्ट चेक इट. ओके, एंड दैट्स व्हाट इज नॉलेज. नॉलेज इज नॉट मेमोराइजेशन कि मुझे पाइथन के हज़ारों लाइब्रेरीज के नाम पता है, हज़ारों फंक्शंस के नाम पता है. इट इज़ नॉट नॉलेज. द नॉलेज इज व्हाट यू कैन फाइंड एंड देन यू कैन इम्प्लीमेंट इट. Okay, I hope that you won't memorize things and you will try to grasp concepts over here. Okay, this is variable arguments. And in the variable arguments, because it's a tuple, so you can just give any, because tuple you can take homogeneous, heterogeneous elements as well for the mix of integers and these numbers, and that you can see clearly here. Where I have given 1, that is an integer type, then I have given 2, 2 is a string type, then 3.0 is a float type. So you can give any sort of argument, multiple arguments, because a tuple, you can see it over here. Tuple can take a heterogeneous mix of elements. Then we have something as keyworded arguments. It's also a variable number. Here we take also variable number arguments. Again now, so how it does is, so you will say name Alice, age 30, city Wonderland while calling. Now this will be stored in here. And I think it is stored in the form of dictionary that we can check, but just by looking at the type of this key args. Okay, so how it basically checks is it will store this key arg, whole of these arguments in form of a dictionary. These arguments will be stored in form of a dictionary in this KWARGS, keyworded arguments basically. Then because we can have key value pairs in dictionary, we can take value keys and values out of this dictionary. Okay, if I just go back to the coding window and show you, the first thing is I want to check if it is a dictionary. Here I can check the type of key args. That's the first thing I want to check. It's a dictionary. So it basically stores them in a dictionary. Then I can use a for loop to iterate through the dictionary and get these values out of it, Alice, 30, and Wonderland, that you can see over here. So the first variable number of arguments that you took, they are in the form of a tuple. And the second, the first thing is we have star args. So this stores the values in the form of tuples or tuples, some people say it. And then we have star keyworded args. It takes a dictionary of values, basically the keyworded arguments, because we saw what is a keyworded argument. Okay, we saw them as a keyworded argument. So then it takes it as in the form of dictionaries, and this can be variable. Why? That's why they are called as variable arguments. Variable arguments. I hope this star args and star qw args is clear now. So we can use a mix of these things together. So here you can clearly see the greet is also used, and with this I think you can figure it out. You can use both in these functions. And for example, this is the argument that we have, and then we are using star args, then we are using star keyword arguments. So I am using this one first for loop to go into this args that we have this. Then I am using this for loop and its items to use this keyword arguments, and this arg1 is printed over here. So what should be printed? If I am giving the output as this example 42 hello 3.14, then I'm giving name Alice, age 30, city Wonderland. So what should be printed? So this 42 should be assigned to argument 1, args1, arg1 I think. So here it is in this. Then this value, because now it is not the keyworded argument, and this hello is not a keyword argument. So they'll go into a tuple. So they'll go into a tuple hello, comma 3.14, and they will be assigned to star args. Okay, now as you know that these are keyworded arguments, so they'll go into star keyworded args. If I print them, so you know that in the first you just got 42. Now we have these additional positional arguments hello and 3.14. Now we have these additional keyworded arguments Alice, 30 and Wonderland, and these are basically dictionaries. So we had normal arguments, we had then positional arguments, then we had these keyworded arguments. Okay, so this star args basically takes tuple, that's why we are calling them as positional arguments. And then star keyworded args, they take basically a dictionary, and that's what we call as keyworded arguments, because we are giving the names as well. For we are giving these keyword names, age, city, things like that. Is this clear? Is this star args and star keyword arguments clear? जितना मैं थक रहा हूँ इतना तुम लोगों को थकना है हार्ड वर्क करते करते. Now we have function over the function. This is I think our last topic. Oh, no, we have lambda functions again. Then we have return generator functions. How? I think I should take questions. This we can take like I think now at least you have functions are clear, so I can be pretty sure that if I give you some code to write functions on, I think you should be able to write functions. I think it'll in the next session I'll try to cover the rest of functions in hardly in the first 30 minutes or so that to cover the basic Python. So in Python अभी हमारे पास पूरे basics हमने cover कर लिए. I think we have every basics with us. So what is left is basically object oriented programming paradigm, oops, and then we'll say file handling कि files को read कैसे करते हैं, and then there are some other topic. Oops is a big topic, file handling. Then we'll also say error handling is also there, error handling. But these three are somewhat, I'll say, intermediate topics. So when you should be very good at this, very good at these functions, operators, then I'll be taking you to oops, file handling, error handling. I think in the next session I'll stop here. I'll stop the Python over here. Why I'm stopping Python? Because now it is time for you to practice a lot of Python. I'll just take 30 more minutes to explain the other capabilities of basic Python. Then when the time comes and I know that you know the Python well, then I can move on to this oops. Because this oops, file handling, I think file handling is also an easy topic, but I still want to cover it with these, and error handling as well, because when you are not trying, you're not getting errors. So error handling का फायदा ही क्या है? The best thing is when you try and you get errors, तो तुम्हें समझ आएगा कि errors को handle करना पड़ता है. And where oops is basically just a paradigm of writing code. So you will be using these base construct to write the code, and file handling is how to read a file, how to write back this file onto your computer, onto your hard drive, things like that. So I'll say basic Python हमने cover कर लिया है. Not just Python, I'll say हमने एक language, set of language, computer language cover किया है, because every language is somewhat similar. If you understood these constructs really well, तो बाकी language में भी यही constructs हैं. There is just a syntax change. Okay, तो वहाँ पे syntax change होगा और वो syntax तुम्हें सीखना पड़ेगा. And the most important thing that you learnt is how to learn, सीखते कैसे हैं, कि फॉर एग्जांपल मेक ए क्लेम देन ट्राई टू जज इट कि सही क्लेम है। तो उसके बाद ये भी सीखो कि अगर तुम्हें कोई चीज़ पढ़नी है तो हाउ शुड वी गो अबाउट इट। तो आई डोंट वांट यू टू मेमोराइज, आई एम अगेन सेइंग इट अगेन एंड अगेन कि मेमोराइज करने की जरूरत नहीं है चीज़ों को। व्हाट टू डू, मेमोराइजेशन से अच्छा ये है कि तुम चीज़ों को ये सीखो कि इन चीज़ों को करते कैसे, कॉन्सेप्ट कैसे बिल्ड होते हैं, देन यू विल बी द बेस्ट लर्नर। Okay, so we are just 30 minutes away to complete this basic Python course, and I think next time onwards I'll take some libraries. I'll take NumPy, I'll take pandas, I'll also take matplotlib, which will be used for your ML. Did you enjoy this Python? किस किसने enjoy किया Python को? Just say me yes, yes, no, I did not enjoy. Open your mics because I'm not able to see your screen. So that's why like now is your time to sharp your Python. Python के बेसिक्स नहीं सीखोगे तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है। तो इसलिए पाइथन के बेसिक्स को शार्प करो बहुत ज़्यादा, और उसके बाद हम नेक्स्ट सेशन में हम लोग पहले तो हम लोग ये 30 मिनट्स कवर करेंगे जो हमारा रह गया, एंड देन वी विल गो ऑन नमपाई। नमपाई इज़ बेसिकली यूज फॉर दिस कॉल्ड न्यूमेरिकल पाइथन, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारा हम लोग जो भी हमारे पास डेटा होगा वो रीड करेंगे नमपाई में। एंड देन वी हैव पांडास। पांडास से क्या होता है, अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई CSV फाइल है, तुम्हारे पास डिफरेंट फॉर्मेट्स की फाइल्स होती है, उनको रीड की जाती है। तो इसलिए मैं ये फाइंड हैंडलिंग को उसी टाइम में कवर करूँगा। और मैटप्लॉटलिब हम लोग यूज़ करते हैं, इवन सीबॉन इसको हम यूज़ करते हैं विजुअलाइजेशन के लिए। ओके, तो बिकॉज यू हैव डेटा नाउ यू विल बी प्लेइंग विद डेटा, दैट्स वाई इसको बोथ मोस्ट द ML इज़ बेस्ड ऑन डेटा। तो अभी पहले हम ये डेटा को सीखेंगे कि डेटा को रीड कैसे करते हैं, फिर उनसे ग्राफ्स कैसे बनाते हैं, एंड प्रॉब्ली सम प्री प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ डेटा। देन वी विल मूव ऑन टू द ML एल्गोरिदम्स, कौन कौन से ML एल्गोरिदम एग्जिस्ट करते हैं और कैसे हम लोग ML एल्गोरिदम बना सकते हैं। देन वी विल मूव टू डीप लर्निंग। अगेन जस्ट गिव यू अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ टूर। तो पहले हमने पाइथन सीख लिया, नाउ वी हैव अ लैंग्वेज इन आवर बेल्ट। तो अभी हम लोग क्या सीखना है, क्योंकि पूरा का पूरा जो ML AI होता है वो पूरा डेटा पे बेस्ड होता है। तो हम लोग को अभी ये देखना है कि डेटा को रीड कैसे करें, हम लोग डेटा को प्लॉट कैसे करें, डेटा से कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन लेने की कोशिश कैसे करें। तो उस वो आता है सब प्री प्रोसेसिंग में, वी कॉल दैट डेटा प्री प्रोसेसिंग स्टेज। तो ये प्री प्रोसेस करना सीखेंगे हम डेटा को। देन वी विल मूव ऑन ML एल्गोरिदम। अब ये जो डेटा हमारे पास ये ML एल्गोरिदम्स के रेडी है। देन दीज ML एल्गोरिदम्स हैव लिमिटेड फॉर द यूजेज, बहुत कम चीज़ें कर पाते हैं। नाउ वी हैव डीप लर्निंग बट इट रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ डेटा, तो इसके बाद हम लोग जाएंगे डीप लर्निंग पे। सो दीज आर रफ मॉड्यूल्स। तो पहले हमने ये पाइथन सीखी, और बाई जहाँ पे हम लोग ये सीखते रहेंगे, उनकी मैथ्स हम लोग वहीं के वहीं सीखेंगे। I told you that I'll teach you guys probability, I'll teach you guys stats, I'll teach you people metrics, and I'll teach you guys optimizations. But please जितनी मुझे मेहनत पुट करनी पड़ती है, I want you to do at least 3 times of this. Otherwise I'll become better at these things. I am updating my knowledge क्योंकि मैं ही पढ़ा रहा हूँ, so पढ़ाने में लगभग दुगनी मेहनत वैसे ही जाती है। तो I want you to become better at these things. So this is a humble request for all of you. Do not waste your time. और मुझे भी लगता है कि मैं भी टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ, because I am trying to give my best, और मैं ऐसी चीज़ें बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ जो तुम इवन मतलब कहीं पे सीख ना पाओगे। एंड for that I am open to questions as well. But the problem here I am seeing is you guys do not practice. And it was so disheartening to see जिन questions को under 1 minute लगना चाहिए वो तुमसे 5 मिनट में भी नहीं सॉल्व हुए। बट आई होप कि नेक्स्ट टाइम ऑनवर्ड्स की तुम लोग मेहनत करोगे, बिकॉज दिस पाइथन इज मैंडेटरी फॉर यू। अगर तुमने ये नहीं सीखा तो दीज स्टेज दे फॉलो विद दिस। देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज, इफ यू नो, टोपोलॉजिकल सॉर्ट। तो वहाँ पे डिपेंडेंसीज होती है। पाइथन वी आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन दिस लैंग्वेज। सो अगर हम लोग ये चीज़ें कर रहे हैं एंड यू डोंट हैव अंडरस्टैंड पाइथन, देन आई एम सॉर्ट ऑफ वेस्टिंग माई टाइम इन दिस। आई विल बी टेलिंग यू ओके चलो अब हम डेटा को रीड करेंगे, लेट्स इंपोर्ट दिस, लेट्स डू दैट, देन इट विल बी प्योर वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम इफ यू डोंट नो दिस। So how many of you know, how many of you will revise all the sessions before coming to next session? Just raise your hands. Please and please do it. Please and please revise the session. Revise, because now we have only 6 sessions per Python. 6 ही सेशन है पाइथन के लिए। एंड आई थिंक इट इज़ रियली इंटरेस्टिंग डिस्कशन जो हम लोग करते हैं उसमें। तो यू विल एंजॉय अ लॉट, एंड यू गाइज हैव जस्ट अटेंड द डिस्कशन। तुम एयरफोन लगाओ और काम करते रहो और सुनते रहो डिस्कशन। मे बी जस्ट वॉच इट ऑन 1.5x स्पीड और समथिंग लाइक दैट। उससे क्या होगा, रिवाइज होगा। देन आई से उसके बाद तुम थोड़ा सा इनकी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, python.org पे डॉक्यूमेंटेशन भी थोड़ा सा देख लो। I told you, like I even am making mistakes right now. I told, for example, I made multiple mistakes. क्यों? Because I'm not memorizing things. मुझे पता है चीज़ exist करते हैं. If I need to check it, I can check it. So that should be your approach. Do not memorize things. It's okay if you make mistakes. तो उनको correct करने के लिए तुम्हारे पास knowledge होनी चाहिए. That's good. तो पहली चीज़ ये होगी कि तुम अपने पाइथन का बहुत अच्छा रिवीजन करो, एंड नाउ ऑन आई थिंक आई विल बी रिलीजिंग असाइनमेंट्स, लाइक 4 assignments for Python. 4 assignments for Python, and I will give you probably 2 weeks to solve all of these assignments, क्योंकि Python उसके बाद हम लोग हार्ड कोर इस पे जाएंगे, ML वाली चीज़ों पे, तब तक ये चीज़ करते रहो तुम. Is that okay? Nice. I hope तुम्हें कुछ मिला होगा. If you have questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can close the session, and I'll post this recording on YouTube because I have not live streamed it today. I'll post the recording soon. If you don't have questions, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.